Hello, welcome to InSight on a beautiful morning from home. Yes, InSight is adapting just like you to the realities of this COVID-19 environment. The word that comes to mind is upended, and life can be pretty stressful. So I welcomed a call this week from Tim Murphy, CEO of Bridgeway Recovery Services and ClearPath in Kaiser, who has some thoughts he'd like to share with us that might give us a little comfort and a little help coping. Hi, Tim. We're so grateful we can connect with you this way. You were actually in studio for InSight back in October, pre-COVID, and you have a story to tell us about InSight and you.
Yeah, good morning, Wendy, and
Hi.
good morning to your listeners. And you're right, this is a gorgeous day. I'm in my office at Bridgeway Recovery Services, downtown Salem. I can see out, and I kind of wish I was outside rather than inside, but I'm doing this, and that's good. When we did our interview in October, I was able to really draw a picture of what Bridgeway is and what Bridgeway does. So we provide mental health and chemical dependency treatment, a range of treatment services from inpatient treatment, residential treatment. We have a detox clinic, we have a primary care clinic. 7 different clinics have been operating in Salem for quite some time. And that interview was wonderful. And it's interesting, a friend of mine in California called me last week. They had just seen it on YouTube, and it made me re-look at it again. And that precipitated the call to you to say, hey, maybe we should do a COVID update.
Well, that's exactly why I want to hear from you. How's Bridgeway adapting, especially as we go into the phases as we record this, so that people are trying to figure out ways to reopen? How's your staff, your clients?
So thank you for asking. That's great. We've been operating differently, but we've been operating this whole time. So my detox clinic at Bridgeway never closed. What we did do initially was we reduced the number of beds. We had 24 beds, but back in the end of March, 1st of April, we reduced the number of beds to 12 in order to keep everybody in a private room. We've since been able to increase capacity there, and so we're now operating at a daily level of about 18, and that still allows us to do the physical distancing we need to do and the care that we need to provide. It's hygienically, it's probably one of the cleanest places in town. I feel really safe going there. So that's detox. Our outpatient services, we quickly moved from in-clinic to at home. So our clinicians have been reaching out to all the folks that are in treatment with us and doing video conferencing, video telemedicine work. That's been actually going really kind of well. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit. There's some good parts of that and some difficult parts of that, and I can explain that as well. Our primary care clinic, that is relatively small but necessary, we've kept that open, appointment-only basis, and most of that work is done through telemedicine, but sometimes we've had to have some inpatient services delivered, and that's been operating as well. So we did have to close our residential homes. We have 3 residential treatment facilities where 8 people live in congregate care. And what we did is we closed admissions to those in the end of March and let the people that were currently in treatment with us finish out their treatment. And so in April, we closed those. And those remain closed right now while we're trying to figure out how to best and safely reopen them in the future.
That's really a challenge right there. You know, CCTV, we're trying to figure out safe ways that we too can open and feel like the staff and the public are safe. And so we share that with you, along with a lot of other businesses and government and everybody. This is a really uncharted sea for us, all of us.
It really is. It's really a difficult time for everyone. It's a difficult time. I'm glad that you mentioned CCTV. It's a difficult time for you all, difficult time for you and I, probably personally. So imagine how much more this may be causing challenges for people struggling with symptoms of mental illness.
Just how has it been for these people that you've just described? And tell me, what are they telling you?
Yeah, that's a great question, Wendy. So I asked my clinical supervisors, what are they hearing, and what of our clinicians hearing? And some folks are struggling quite a bit. Some folks are not so much struggling with their current symptoms, but struggling with the whole shutdown of society, with the restrictions of going outside, socializing with folks. Off, Oftentimes, people that we serve. Um, Group treatment has been something we had to stop for a while because we can't do that work. Um, what we've started doing is group work with telemedicine. So we've been doing some groups on Zoom, just like you and I are working here, and that's been helpful. And it fills a void, but it's not the same as when we were seeing people in the clinic.
Talk about how it is to actually do it remotely.
Well, it's interesting how good our technology is. I mean, look at you and I right now. I can see you. I can read your face. I know you're smiling. I can see that. You're worried. I can see it. We can listen to each other, and a lot of what therapy is listening. And so, for some folks, it's a little easier to talk remotely than in person. And so some of our counselors are telling us that the depth of some of their conversations is more than normal.
Are you suggesting that by doing it remotely, it feels more intimate? They feel more relaxed?
Yes.
You're getting some benefit from this?
For some people, it's working better. For some people, they're more willing to disclose their own fears and concerns remotely. There's something about this that creates that. Others, that's not across the board for everybody. We're finding some of our counselors have adapted to this really well, and some are struggling with it. That's not how they were trained. It's not what they knew. It's not what they thought how to work. And they were sort of rushed into this just like all of us were. Some of our clients are saying this is working for them. Others are saying, I really want to get back in the clinic. So it's a mixed bag. On our adolescent team, the parents are reporting more time with their kids. And that's usually a good thing. More meal time. Restaurants are closed. That's a good thing for families. Some are struggling because they don't feel that they have the support. So they didn't have the support from the school. They don't have the supports from, they're involved with juvenile corrections. Those folks aren't able to meet. So some families are struggling in that way. But I think we're adapting. We're really resilient human beings, and we can do a lot of things. And, having to reevaluate the way this work isn't necessarily all bad. And I'm hopeful that we'll learn some things differently. We'll provide services differently. I believe telemedicine and this sort of work will continue.
Give us some tips for coping. Could you? You've got a lot of experience in that.
Sure.
What are two things I'd actually like to know? What are the signs somebody's hit a stress level that they're just not coping? And the other, that people can help each other when they notice this. And let's start with that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we ask people about is how are they sleeping? Are they getting rest? Have they changed some of their daily habits? Are they taking care of themselves personally? I recommend to our staff that even when people are working from home, get up every morning the same way you usually do, shower and get dressed like you're going to work, and then go into your den or your kitchen or your garage or wherever you're working from. I see you're working from home, but go at it with the attitude that you're working. For our clients, it's sort of the same thing. Go about your day. Don't spend too much time listening to the endless news cycle about the negative effects. Get outside. Fresh air is an incredible cure. So get exercise. Go for walks. Go down to Riverfront Park. Walk along the park. Keep social distancing. But when you're outside and you're keeping your distance, you might not need to wear the mask, but have it with you. So if you end up in a small group of people or you're encountering people, then you can slip your mask on, and that keeps people safe. Remember, we wear a mask for others to keep us from infecting them or spreading germs. They wear their masks for you. So when you're wearing a mask, it's an act of compassion and caring for others. And it's annoying. We all know that. It's not something we look forward to, but it's something we can adapt and we can do. If it's really not that big a deal. So exercise, get outside, communicate, call family, reach out to people, try not to isolate. Those are all, when you ask what are some of the tips, those are the things to remind people to do, suggest that they do, and that's going to help their mental health as much as anything. Alcohol intake, we know from looking at data that the liquor stores have done a pretty big business in the last few months. And so we're concerned about that. We're concerned about that with our clients. We think there's going to be a wave of people reaching out in the months to come. We're preparing for that. We're staffing for that. We're getting ready for that. Chemical dependency is also a problem. It's a little less of a problem in Marion County than my colleagues are experiencing up in Portland, where methamphetamine is much more available. We're seeing not so much available in this community, but opiates are, alcohol is, other pharmaceutical medicines that might not be used as prescribed. We're hearing and seeing some of that. One of the good news, or one of the better things, are folks that struggle with problem gambling. The lottery has been pretty much shut down these last couple of months. So the video lottery machines are not been available. So people haven't been gambling to the degree that they used to. And for those that struggle with gambling, that's been helpful.
Well, Tim, I can't thank you enough for being able to talk about all of these things candidly and openly. We're all in it together is one of the phrases everybody finds comforting to use, and we're trying to find out how we go forward, how best to go forward. Are you more optimistic about the way Bridgeway's handling things and feel like you have a path forward of your own that makes sense?
Yeah, thanks. I'm very optimistic about how things are going to play out over the next couple of months. I think that Bridgeway is retooling and preparing for that. We've been built to support our local population. We've been built to support our local community, and we're going to continue to be a big support for our community. And whether we're doing it with reopened clinics, whether we're doing it through telemedicine like you and I are working now, whether we're doing it through question and answers, meeting with families, we're going to be there. We're also going to support our colleagues in the medical field that are doing the same thing. So I'm meeting pretty regularly with other executive directors and CEOs to talk about how they're doing it. We're trading advice and ideas, and that's been really helpful. Salem Health has been a strong supporter of the community, and they're going to continue to be so. So that's been good. Some of this is bringing a lot of us together in new ways, and no one's talking about competition. They're talking about collaboration. They're talking about cooperation, and they're talking about serving people. And when those are the conversations, I always want to be there.
Boy, do I want to leave it on that note. That is the best news of all, isn't it? And that's what we're finding too. We're working collaboratively, even better than we have before. Necessity has made it important to do that, but we're finding that it's rather enjoyable to do it that way too, remotely, but hey, whatever works, and this works. Okay. Thanks, Tim, for joining us. Come back. I want to talk to you again. This has been wonderful.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks. Thank you. TV and all your viewers. Take care.
Good luck to all of you.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you. And everyone out there, thank you for joining us today on InSight. You can learn more by going to cctvsalem.org for an awful lot more information on COVID-19 resources and helps and tips and our programming and reopening plans and InSight. Thank you.